All right. Look like we got some cloudiness going on here. Is that what this is? I don't know what this is. Oh, well. It's going to be what it be. All right, my beautiful people, man. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's a terrific Tuesday, and we are ready to rock and roll here. There we go. We're ready to rock and roll here on this Tuesday, man, for New Black Wall Street Book Club, where I'm trying to get my IG up, man. I mean, my IG is up, but it's a little cloudy, it looks like. Good morning, good morning, good morning to you, man. New Black Wall Street Book Club, where black folk do read. You put in a book, we absolutely will find it. We're going to be broadcasting live here today on Facebook, Instagram, and also YouTube as we continue along in a journey on into Black Fortunes, the story of the first 6 African Americans to escape slavery and become millionaires. While you guys are joining, man, go ahead and hit the like button, the share button, all that good stuff. And we're just going to get started, man. We got daily motivations today as well, and we're going to get right into this thing, man. So I'm not going to delay, well, because we got an hour of power to change the way that we think, and we'll change the results. We'll change our life. We'll change the results in our life. We must first start by changing the way we think. What we input, right? Good stuff in, good stuff out, man. It's time to get this show on the road, man. New Black Wall Street Book Club. You know what time it is, Mr. DJ. Hit the music.
New Black Wall Street Book Club. Evan Jefferson, brother, much love. Educating, elevating, because in knowledge is the power and we'll never give it up. Literature that's for the masses. Where to put your money down, now how to watch your assets. Yeah, uplifting others is a passion. My brother Evan, he will turn it into action. New Black Wall Street Book
Good morning,
Club.
good morning.
You should come read with us.
Oh, what's going on?
We comprehend and discuss. All just come together. There's no limit for us.
Oh,
Here comes your host, New Black Wall Street. Evan, take it away. New Black Wall Street Book Club.
Hey, grand rising to you, billionaires. Thanks so much for joining us here today on the New Black Wall Street Book Club, where black folk do read. You put in a book, and we absolutely will find it. I'm your host, ERGJ, your certified financial educator and CEO of ERGJ Enterprises, ERGJ Black Bazaar, and international best-selling author of the book, The Black Billionaires Club. That book there is a story of the that book there is a study of black wealth. It's a study of the 12 richest black people in the world today and how they built their wealth. And I just truly believe that if you want to be wealthy, that's a big if, by the way, because black wealth is a black choice. Everybody put that in the comments below. Black wealth is a black choice. You simply have to choose to get rich. You simply have to choose to build wealth. You simply have to choose to learn what you don't know. And I'm telling you, some of the things that I did, I learned how to turn off the damn TV and pick up a book. And that's exactly what we're going to do here today, man. Hey, man, check out the website, theblackbillionairesclub.com, and pick up your book today. If you want to be wealthy, study wealthy people. You can simply go to the website, theblackbillionairesclub.com. That's right, theblackbillionairesclub.com. Order your copy today. You can pick up the hard copy. Also, the ebook is available, and it's also available in French for our brothers and sisters in the diaspora that speak French. You can get in the ebook and also audiobook, theblackbillionairesclub.com. That's right, theblackbillionairesclub.com. Pick up your copy today. Today's episode is being sponsored by ERGJ Black Bazaar, the Afrocentric marketplace where we specialize in Afrocentric home decor, natural personal care products, and also black art-inspired gifts, man. Check out the website, www.ergjblackbazaar.com, www.ergjblackbazaar.com. When you come, go ahead and check out the personal care section. Y'all know it's getting cold out there. It's getting cold. I want you to check out the skincare because we got some stuff for your skin. There's a moisturizer. We got mango butter, oil, and coconut oil and shea butter, man. Some Black Bazaar beard butter, man. We got face wash, all that good stuff. Hand cream is up in the house from the Nubian heritage. So make sure you pick up your moisturizer. So all throughout the wintertime, your melanin can still be popping. Okay, your melanin can still be popping. Check out www.ergjblackbazaar.com, www.ergjblackbazaar.com. And I want you to remember this, that once you shop black, you never go back. That's right. Once you shop black, You never go back, man. Go ahead and hit the like button, the share button, and let people know that we're here. Also, in the comments below, I'd like for you to share exactly where you are connecting from, what city, what state, what country you might be connected from here today. We're broadcast across Facebook, Instagram, and also YouTube, which is the World Wide Web. We understand you could be anywhere tuning in today on the New Black Wall Street Book Club. Good morning to you. Thanks so much for joining. Miss Yvette is in the house. Miss Goodrich, thanks so much for being here. And we're going to get right into it today. We're going to get right into this thing, man. We're going to start with our daily motivations for African-American success. That's right, daily motivation for African-American success. It comes out of a book written by Mr. Dennis P. Kimbro, one of the best authors, one of the greatest authors of our day, a Black author, by the way. Mr. Dennis P. Kimbro, Daily Motivations for African-American Success. Now, our title today is From the Back of the Pack. From the Back of the Pack. And here's our quote of today. Comes from Jackie Joyner-Kersee, who was the Olympic champion. And she says this, and I quote, "It's better to look ahead and prepare than to look back and regret." Miss Jackie Joyner-Kersee, the Olympic champion, says this, and I quote, "It's better to look ahead and prepare." Everybody put in the console, look ahead and prepare. It's better to look ahead and prepare than to look back and regret. It's better to look ahead and prepare. Now, here's the interesting thing I find, billionaires, that we're looking forward and we're preparing for the goodness. We're preparing for the best. We're preparing for what we want. We're looking forward. Yes, the past has happened. Yes, we've been affected by the past. And yes, we can change so that our future can be better and be brighter. It's better to look ahead and prepare. Here's a question for you. Are you prepared? See, a lot of us say we want stuff in our life. We want the better things. We want greater things. We want more money. We want love. We want this and that. But are you prepared? I've been to say that most people simply aren't prepared for what they say they want. And then when it actually does come, they don't know what to do with it. What's it like for the person that says, hey, I want more money? Then they get more money and they don't know what to do with it. They go right back to where they was when they was asking for the money. Look ahead and prepare. Now, here's our passage of the day. Here's our motivation from Mr. Dennis P. Kimbro. We're going to get it in this morning. Let's read. After a thrilling comfort behind win, Georgetown University basketball coach John Thompson was asked by a reporter what he told his players at halftime to spur them on to victory. "I told them that I do not like to lose," Coach Thompson responded. "Defeat, to me, means the failure to reach your objectives. Too many people in business, as well as in sports, are afraid of competition. Competition is a part of life. And if you are prepared, victory will certainly be yours. A competition is a part of life. And if you are prepared," everybody put in the console, be prepared. If you are prepared, victory will certainly be yours. Grand Rising to you, Miss Addie Scott. Thanks so much for joining us here on YouTube. What's up? What's your good morning to you? Inspire Thy World. Thanks so much for joining us here on Instagram. Many of us have never been fond of competition, yet we face it every day. As we apply to college or climb the corporate ladder or face dozens of qualified candidates in a job interview, in these situations, the pressure always seems to mount. We feel fragmented, unfocused, and fearful. During these trying moments, we can't help but remember similar situations in the past when we blew it because we were not focused. Everybody put in the comments, so focus. And we can't help but remember how we berated ourselves for not being prepared, at least emotionally. Being prepared emotionally. It goes without saying that competition is sometimes unavoidable and that we're going to be more successful in some competitive situations than in others. But if we prepare ourselves mentally and emotionally for the opportunities that are available, we will certainly have a much better chance of holding our own. Then we could begin to experience our own come from behind victories. Right now, billionaires, I want you to think about moments in your life where you just mentally and emotionally, you just couldn't stand the pressure of competition. Whether it be that you were competing for brothers, it might be you were competing to get to woo a woman or something like that. And you know, there's a lot of competition to get that one, that solid rock that's out there. Maybe it's a job or something like that you were going after. See, I want you to think about some things that you were going after. And you realize as you were pursuing or trying to accomplish or trying to get or trying to build or whatever the case may be, especially your goals, you start to feel a little pressure. And being mentally and emotionally prepared, you might just wasn't at the time. That doesn't mean you can't prepare for future opportunities. You can't be emotionally prepared, I would say, more so for the women, and mentally prepared, I would say, more so for the men. Men are thinking beings for the most part. Women are emotional beings for the most part. But man, what would it be like if you go into that next interview? You go into that next closing table. You go into that next big opportunity and you are mentally and emotionally prepared and you're focused to accomplish your goal. You're going to win more often than not. Here's our affirmation of the day, beautiful people. Here's what you want to allow to take root into your subconscious, your heart. You can grow and develop this thing by repeating it over and over and over again until it brings forth a harvest into your life. Repeat after me. Today, I feel up to the challenge. I'm prepared for anything that comes my way. Let's do it again. Affirmation of the day. Make sure we're ready to rock and roll today. Repeat after me. Today, I feel up to the challenge. I'm prepared for anything that comes my way. Now, I don't know about you, beautiful people. This is a powerful affirmation here. I mean, I'm ready to get up, get out, and go get something. I'm prepared for anything that comes my way. Let's do it again for the people in the back, the people in the way back. We'll make sure they know that we mean business today. We ready to get up, get out, and go get something. Say it with some conviction. Repeat after me our affirmation of the day. Let's get it. Today, I feel up to the challenge. I'm prepared for anything. And I mean anything that comes my way. Well, beautiful people, are you prepared? Do you feel up to the challenge? Are you going to let anything stop you from moving closer to your goals today? From the back of the pack, Daily Motivations for African American Success by Mr. Dennis P. Kimbro. Daily Motivations for African American Success by Mr. Dennis P. Kimbro. All right, my beautiful people, man, that was our appetizer. That's getting our heart and our mind, our minds ready to receive today as we're going to be getting into Black Fortunes, the story of the first 6 African Americans to escape slavery and become millionaires. Now I find this book to be right on time. Everybody putting console right on time. Because I believe that we're still some African Americans in 2019 who are still in slavery. That slavery may not be physical. No, we've broken those chains, but that slavery is more psychological. That slavery is more emotional. That slavery is more social. That slavery is definitely financial. And if those brothers and sisters could break free of slavery back in the 1800s, the 1860s, the early 1900s, and become millionaires, in other words, go from a place where they were slaves to becoming masters, to go from a place where they had nothing to having more than enough. Well, if they could do it back then surely we can do it now. Surely we've got more opportunity. Surely we've got more access. Surely if they could do it back then, what the hell is our excuse from doing it now? Black Fortunes. The story of the first 6 African Americans to escape slavery and become millionaires. We're now into chapter 10. And chapter 10 is called Building the Promised Land in Oklahoma. So if you missed our previous chapter, guys, of chapter 9, we were talking about Bill Street in Memphis, Tennessee, which was one of the Black Wall Streets. And now there was a migration taking place because we got tired of getting lynched. Okay, we were like, listen, I'm out. They just keep killing us. We're going to have to go somewhere else and resettle. I guess that's kind of how it is. I think that's where we're going with this. I'm not quite sure. But we're now into chapter 10, which is Building the Promised Land in Oklahoma, which I believe we're going to start talking about the Black Wall Street that many of us know, which I believe is going to be Tulsa, Oklahoma. But I don't want to get ahead of myself because I don't really know. I ain't read the book before. We're reading it now. Let's get it in. Chapter 10, Building the Promised Land in Oklahoma. And this is in 1893. Everybody put it down below, 1893. 1893. I really want us to reference just how far back this is. We're talking about, 130 years ago? So we're talking about more than a century ago. 1893. We're in 2019. 1893. Okay, that's what we're talking about, the time frame that we're in now. Let's get it from Shomari Wills, Black Fortunes, the story of the first 6 African Americans to escape slavery and become millionaires. So moments before noon on a hot and dusty day in September of 1893, more than 100,000 men, women, and children lined up along the northern border of the Oklahoma Territory like racers at the start line. They were boomers, property seekers who had journeyed from across the country to the west in order to participate in what was shaping up to be the country's largest land run. More than a year earlier, the federal government had purchased 6,361,000 acres from the Cherokee tribe in the former Indian Territory of Oklahoma and promised to open the land up for settlement to homesteaders on a first arrived basis at exactly noon on September 16th, 1893. September 16th, 1893. So the government had decided they had purchased the land from the Indians, and now they're going to annex or assess that land on a first come, first served basis. Okay. They began arriving almost a year before the run was to begin, in wagons on the backs of horses and donkeys, camping along the Kansas-Oklahoma border. The camps were crowded as farmers were facing hard times due to drought, declining profits in the agricultural sector, and an economic depression in 1893, later known as the Panic of 1893. The overriding mood in the camps was one of desperation. Tens of thousands of boomers lived in tents and makeshift houses. Those who came early in the year endured Oklahoma's brief but frigid winter, followed by thunderstorms and tornado-like winds in the spring and a hot and humid summer. Death seemed to linger in the air due to outbreak of disease and food and water shortages. Gunfights and brawls between boomers were regular occurrences. Among the frontiersmen was a 25-year-old African-American named Ottawa W. Gurley, O.W. Gurley. Everybody put that comment below, O.W. Gurley, Ottawa W. Gurley. Gurley was a well-built with a square jaw and built broad shoulders. He had mahogany skin, angular features, and curly dark hair that he parted at the side. Like the other boomers, Gurley dreamed of a better life. He was the son of slaves born on Christmas Day in 1868 in Huntsville, Alabama, to John and Rosanna Gurley. He grew up in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, on a farm with his family and attended public grammar school. Afterward, he became a teacher and then later an employee of the United States Postal Service. He was ambitious, yet pragmatic. And the government's public land handout in Oklahoma seemed just like the type of opportunity he'd be remiss to pass up. At noon sharp on September 16th, a cannon fired, marking the start of the run. The boom of the gun set off a stampede into the territory as boomers sprinted across the Oklahoma border onto the state's green prairies and red sandy soil, kicking up clouds of dust. The boomers carried with them posts with their surnames written on them. When they found an available plot of land, they could lay their claim to it by driving the stake into the ground. When they entered the Cherokee outpost, many found that most of the better land had already been taken by outlaws called Sooners, who had sneaked into the territory early and squatted out the best areas. Nonetheless, thousands of boomers, black and white, planted their flags in the land that day and applied for their land permits. Gurley traveled south more than 50 miles through a forest of scrubby oak trees to a large prairie field with thousands of tents of other boomers. There, Gurley staked his claim to a plot of dirt. 5 days later, the area was incorporated as the town of Perry, Oklahoma. And Gurley was given the rights to the plot where he planted his flag. So we're talking about O.W. Gurley, who was over here, getting over here trying to get some land in Oklahoma. This is back in 1893, September 16th, 1893. So this is, opportunity, right? And it's very interesting. First come, first serve base. You get to that land, you can run faster than everybody else. You stick your flag in the ground, that land could be yours. I wish I had an opportunity like that because I would be practicing. I'd be working out. I'd get fast. Give me some land. So that was chapter 1. Of building a promised land in Oklahoma. That was chapter 1, building a promised land in Oklahoma. All right. So chapter 10, that was part 1. Chapter 10 of Black Fortunes, the first 6 African Americans to escape slavery and become millionaires. Building the promised land in Oklahoma, part 2. African Americans had begun to relocate to the former Indian Territory in Oklahoma as soon as it was open for settlement in 1889. The Central Oklahoma Immigration Society, an organization funded by Robert Reed Church, you guys remember that name, helped thousands of African Americans immigrate to Oklahoma to escape oppression, lynching, and terror in Memphis. These individuals were joined by groups of Black homesteaders from Arkansas, Kentucky, Virginia, Washington, D.C., New York, the Carolinas, Georgia, and Florida, all seeking greater freedom and opportunity in an America where African Americans were beginning to face violent backlash for the gains they had made during Reconstruction. Now, I want you guys to understand this because this is still going on today. Like African Americans in America back in 1893, the difference, I believe, is they were willing to do whatever was necessary in order to live the type of life they wanted to live for greater freedom and opportunity. In 2019, most African Americans are lazy. They for some reason, I think we feel like it's gonna be given to us versus us going and get it. There's a difference. I think we're too passive. I think we think it's going to be given to us by the laws or by whatever. I think that's too passive. Back then, we should learn from history. They had to go get up, get out, and go get something. So they were willing to travel. They was willing to relocate. They was willing to go all across the dang on west. Do you know how far it is for you to travel from Georgia or Florida to Oklahoma? Do you know how far it is? How long that take? How long it took back then? But they were willing to go where they could have the best opportunity. They were willing to move. They were willing to relocate. They was willing to put their kids in the best parts of town to get the best education. They was willing to do what was necessary in order for them to have greater freedom and opportunity. Now notice this. Opportunity didn't come to them. They went after opportunity. You see the difference? They didn't wait on opportunity to come for them. They went after opportunity. This is back in 1893. I don't know what the hell we doing in 2019. Oh, I don't know what y'all doing. I know what I'm doing. I go after opportunity every day. I don't wait on to knock on my door. I don't wait on to fly in through the mail. Nope, I go after opportunity every day. How about you? They were led in establishing themselves in Oklahoma by Edward P. McCabe, an enterprising African-American from Troy, New York. McCabe was thin with straight hair, skin the color of sand, and a handlebar mustache. He wore three-piece suits, spectacles, and bow ties. Before the land runs, he had lobbied the U.S. government in Washington, D.C. to make Oklahoma an all-black state. When his requests to establish a black Oklahoma were denied, he moved to the territory during the land runs in 1889 and began establishing a movement to build all-black towns in the state. 25 miles south of the town of Perry, he built an all-black town and called his land a promised Langston. He was not alone in organizing a black town. Between 1890 and 1900, black boomers in Oklahoma established more than 30 such towns. McCabe proposes to establish at Langston a distinctly Negro city and has for months, through colonization societies, began working in the southern states to secure a population for this new black Mecca. This new black Mecca. A New York Times article stated in 1891, there are nearly 200 persons already there, and not a white face is to be found in the place. Everybody putting down so black Mecca. McCabe hired a half dozen traveling salesmen and took out newspaper ads to promote black immigration to Oklahoma. Within a year, McCabe's town boasted more than 200 residents. For McCabe, Langston was the beginning of a black takeover of Oklahoma. He believed that if he could get enough blacks to resettle in Oklahoma, black towns could join together to take over the state and make it an all-black region. By 1892, Langston had 25 businesses, a doctor, and a school. By 1895, the residents had telephone service. In 1897, a black college was established there. Do you see what time we're talking about? Let me repeat this again for the people in the dang on back. He believed, Mr. McCabe, that if he could get enough blacks, everybody putting down so enough, and that's still what we're looking for today. If we can get enough, we're not going to get all. I mean, every damn black person don't want to come to the promised land. That's okay. But if we could get enough, to join the Black Billionaires Club, if we can get enough that want to get rich, if we can get enough that want to change our community, if we get enough black folk, right, to settle, to resettle, to establish, to take reign, to gain dominion, if we can get enough, black towns could join together and take over. See, if we can get enough, we can take over. Let me say that again. If we could get enough, we could take over. If we could just get enough. And take over, making it an all-black region. By 1892, because of this brother McCabe, Langston had 25 businesses. It had a doctor, and it had a school. By 1895, the residents had telephone service. By 1897, a black college was established there. Why? Because they got enough. Now they got enough back in 1897, and we can't get enough in 2019. Something is wrong. That was Black Fortunes chapter 2, by the way. Chapter 10, part 2, I'm sorry. Let's keep going. So this is Black Fortunes, the story of the first 6 African Americans to escape slavery and become millionaires. We're in chapter 10, which is building a promised land in Oklahoma. Part 3. Part 3. Let's get it. Oh, let me see. Let me catch up with these comments. A.V. Knowles said, man, Black Mecca. Vivian Reed said, Black Mecca. Ava Adams said, Black Mecca. Enough. Avery Goover said, Black Mecca. Enough. We can take over, said A.V. Knowles. Absolutely. We absolutely can. Part 3. Let's get it. McCabe's representatives crisscrossed the country recruiting, appearing in black churches and meeting halls, boasting about the all-black towns where African Americans ruled. McCabe coordinated with the founders of other black towns in Oklahoma and back rooms plotted together with them to one day take over the state. African Americans from Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida began to migrate to towns in small numbers as lynchings and violence increased. And some became tired of the hard life and low wages of sharecropping. Right? They got tired. They got tired. They got sick and tired. They had enough. of the violence or the lynchings. We can say today they got tired of the cop killings or the cops killing us, whatever. Because it was lynching back then. Now it's cops shooting us now, which is the same thing. Because they were the cops that were lynching them back then too. It wasn't no different. So Jay said, I have 25 business owners in a private group I've been building. I'm going to share this live and encourage them to join Wednesday. Fantastic. So I guess the question is, when is enough in 2019? When do we, right, become tired? Now, I'm not saying that. Here's the thing. I'm not saying just tired, because some of us, we're tired. We're tired enough to watch the TV and then complain at the TV like that's going to do something. But we're not tired enough to maybe go vote. We're not tired enough to sit outside of City Hall. We're not tired enough to level up in our education. We're not tired enough for us to move. We're not tired enough for us to get life insurance. We're not tired enough. We're tired, but we're not tired enough of the lynchings, or we can say today, the cop killings, or whatever you want to call it, however y'all say that. We're not tired enough of the violence that's increased in our neighborhoods. We're not tired enough. We're not tired of the hard life. Not tired enough. We're not tired of the sharecropping, which you could call today minimum wage. We're not tired enough for us to build our own, for us to create our own city, and for us to rule that city. We're not tired enough. Not yet. Because for some of us, it hadn't hit home yet. For some of us, it hadn't hit home. For some of us, it's like it's still on TV. For some of us, it's still far away. It's just not quite close enough for us as individuals to say, you know what? I'm tired of what I've been seeing in my own community. In Oklahoma towns, blacks had their own institutions and community. And it seemed as though at last they had found a life free from oppression and terror. Gurley moved his wife, Emma, to Perry with him from Arkansas. After getting settled, he attempted to find work. He ran for county treasurer, but he was defeated, and instead took a job as principal of the school in a new town as Conciliation. Perry was a frontier town located on a mile-long prairie. In Perry's early days, its residents lived in and ran businesses out of tents and wood shacks. They supported themselves by operating cattle ranches and wheat farms, and they erected more than 100 bars, restaurants, and shops in a business district in the center of the town. Gurley, seeing the wave of development in Perry, opened a general store, which was successful but did nothing to set Gurley apart from the other shop owners in town. Perry was a multiracial place, with a large number of African Americans having settled there alongside white boomers and immigrants from Germany, Bohemia, and Russia. Edward P. McCabe attempted to establish an all-black town called Liberty near Perry in 1893. But the town failed to attract residents and proved to be short-lived. The town failed to attract residents. Now, this is what kind of happens as well when black folk do decide that they're going to try and create something. It's not attractive enough, right? Because let's be honest, right? What we see is what we build, or what the beginning of something. Let's understand this. The beginning of something is never as attractive as the establishment of a thing. See, when something is established, like say we have the white town that's established, it's obviously going to be more attractive than the black town that's being created. It's got more stuff already there. It's already established. It's got commerce. It's beautified. And then you got the little small town. It's like the hood. It's just getting started. It doesn't have the funding. It doesn't have the backing. But we, for some reason, we don't understand, let's start here versus be there. Let me give you another example. It's like this. You can have a small black business that's getting started. And you know what the black folk will say about that small black business when they get into business? They'll say something like this: I can find it on Amazon cheaper. Not understanding that when you say that, you're basically saying that I'm choosing to spend my money with others because of the cost, and I don't understand that you could be that cheap if you got my support, and then you were able to buy more. But we don't get that. So we say something like this: you're failing to attract my dollars because something that's already been established. One of the biggest companies in the world is going to sell what you got for cheaper. So I'd rather make a choice to give my money to the establishment. Oh, everybody put that in the comments, the establishment. See, I choose the establishment over my brother or my sister who's just getting started because it's not as attractive because of the price. We do not understand these things. And we continue to disrespect our own and choose the establishment for which we are fighting against. How silly is that? We do not understand these things, and we continue to make the same choices centuries. I'm talking about days, months, weeks, years, decades, centuries. We continue to make the same choices. And guess what happens? We continue to get the same results. JB said, your passion, energy, and drive is refreshing and motivating. The universe has no choice but to respect. When they don't black, they hurt their own self. The kids coming behind us will be cursed from that. We got to lead by example. It's the establishment. Now, a lot of black folk, we will complain about the establishment. We'll complain with our mouths. Think about this. This is how we sick boss came into play. Because we will literally complain about the establishment, but then give the establishment all of our dollars. Our $1.7 trillion of spending power gets spent into the establishment. The same establishment that we complain about, we actually finance. We sick, boss. Oh, let me say that again for the people in the back. The same establishment that we complain about with our mouths, we finance with our dollars. We sick, boss. Wow. Jay's Beauty over Instagram said Amazon, Walmart, Apple is getting richer by the minute. And we continue to choose with our wallets the establishment, although we continue to choose with our mouths some type of other thing. And until our actions validate our words or our actions become in harmony. Now, what is this called? This is called being a hypocrite. This is called being unstable. And the good book talks about being unstable in all your ways. Being unstable. Say one thing, do another. And this go for the woke folk. This go for even when black folk try to do something well, like the Million Man March, for example. That was a great thing, I guess. It was a great movement. It was a great coming together of black folk. But guess what they did? When they went to Washington, D.C., where did they sleep? In the establishment. Where did they eat? In the establishment. How did they get transported up there? Through the establishment. So their dollars continued to be an economic boom for Washington, D.C., although they were coming there to say, hey, let's practice group economics. You know what type of group economics we played? We practice group economics, doing the same thing that we always do. Group economics into the establishment. How silly, how sick we must be. Now the establishment is like, come on up to Washington, D.C. Come on and have your million men bring their $1 million into our businesses. And that's exactly what happened. No black vendors, right? I'm not saying no black. I'm pretty sure it was some black that took advantage of that, because if I was in Washington, D.C., I would have been taking advantage of it too. I've been like, okay, y'all coming to Washington, D.C., y'all going to spend money with me. I'll make sure myself is available. But so was everybody else, right? Trying to do everything else. Hey, Ben Reed said, I choose the establishment over our own brother and sister. I saw it cheaper on Amazon, right? Ava said, it's one thing about it. When we get really tired, we start doing something about it. We need to change our strategy. I grew up in an all-black community of 1,200 people, and we had everything in a major city but a bank. We put our money in the white banks. Wow. What city was that? Wow. Right? Black fortunes. That was part 3. Black fortunes. The story of the first 6 African Americans to escape slavery and become millionaires. We're in chapter 10, Building the Promised Land of Oklahoma, part 4. Part 4, let's get it. McCabe was struggling to keep his dream of a Black America in Oklahoma alive. In spring of 1896, the Supreme Court ruled in the case of Plessy versus Ferguson. The case, brought by a multiracial group of activists from New Orleans, brought a constitutional challenge to a set of laws passed by the Louisiana State Legislature in 1890 that mandated separate but equal seating areas for blacks and whites on trains and buses. The Supreme Court, in a 7-1 decision, ruled to uphold the law and by extension confirmed the rights of states to pass racial segregation laws. The ruling was the unofficial inauguration of the Jim Crow era, striking a final blow to the racial progressive epoch of Reconstruction. In Oklahoma, white Southerners moved into the territory and began to take over its government after the land run. They were led by William Alfalfa Bill Murray, a white segregationist and lawyer from Texas. Murray resembled a vaudeville villain with tan skin, yellow tobacco-stained teeth, and a drooping mustache. He moved to Oklahoma in 1899 and intermarried with the ruling family of the Chickasaw tribe. Bill shared the Chickasaws' hatred of blacks and opposed McCabe at every turn. As a rule, they are failures as lawyers, he once said in a thinly veiled barb, adding, "It is entirely false notion that a Negro can rise to the equal of a white man in the professions or become an equal citizen." As he watched blacks build a town on the old Indian land, he lamented, "I appreciate the old-time ex-slave, the old darky, and they are the salt of their race, who comes to me talking softly in that humble spirit which should characterize their actions in dealing with white men." Wow. Under his leadership, segregationists began to pass racist laws and restrict the voting rights of African Americans with grandfather and great-grandfather clauses. McCabe sold his house to create a war chest to fight the racist laws in court. However, he lost repeatedly in court fighting. In court, fighting Alfalfa Bill and his band of white supremacists, and went broke from the legal expenses. In the end, he was forced to leave the state after running out of money. In his absence, the segregationists gained even more power in Oklahoma, and Alfalfa Bill was elected to the state legislature. The region's small black towns followed McCabe's decline. Many shuttered and emptied out. The promised land, for the moment, was lost. So Bill, let me give you a little quick note. Bill Alfalfa Murray later became governor of Oklahoma in 1931. His son, Johnston Murray, also served as governor in 1955. Now, and that's the end of the chapter 10. Now, I think it's important for us to really recognize there was a brother, last name McCabe, I forget his first name, who was fighting to establish an all-black town. And he took his fight to court. And he couldn't continue to fight in court because what? He ran out of money. Now, how many of us have been in a position where, we realize that in order for us to fight in court, we got to have enough money in order to get through the end of the race, to endure. I think we saw the movie. I think what was the movie that came out? It was the movie with Samuel L. Jackson and McCartney, Matthew McConaughey. I forget it was Justin. I don't think it was Justin Case. I'm getting a time. Kill time, something. Anyway, how many guys know the legal process really doesn't have anything to do with you being guilty or innocent? How many guys really know the truth is it's about who has the most money, who can endure to the end, who can pay all of those legal fees to keep fighting and keep fighting and keep fighting until. This is why you won't see a lot of big lawsuits go against big corporations, i.e., Brother Allen, that's going against Comcast and Charter right now. He's got enough money, right, to endure through that process. Most of us don't. This is why, Edward McCabe, thanks so much, AV. This is why many of us simply just choose, take the time to kill. Many of us choose to take the road, the road lesser travel, or the easier road, which is I'll just go sit in jail. Right, let's talk about this prisoner pipeline. I'll just go sit in jail for a week. That'll take care of, the expenses. And I'm not going to go to court. I'm not going to go to trial, even though I could be innocent. I really could be innocent, but I can't afford to fight for my innocence. So we have a lot of brothers and sisters who might spend time in jail. And then here's the thing. Black folk look at people and say, you spent time in jail, so you must be bad. They don't understand the process. They don't understand what goes on. They might have never been through this whole thing called the court system. So some brothers and sisters, they just choose to take the easier route. Man, I don't mind sitting somewhere for 7 days. I don't mind, going and doing some community service or whatever, because I ain't got the money to sit here and fight against this trumped up charge that y'all put up against me, although I might be innocent. Don't y'all see, some of y'all don't understand this stuff. And so y'all chastise men and women. Y'all have an issue with with brothers and sisters that's coming out because they have been labeled as whatever. And then we agree with those labels that the establishment has put on our brother and sister, although the brother and sister had to make a choice. For them, for their family, looking at their finances and saying, how can I afford? I can't afford this lawyer more than a day. And the damn trial gonna take 3 weeks. Yeah, we don't understand this stuff. It's not built for us to win. It's built to what? To steal, to kill, and to destroy. But yet, because we don't understand these things, because we're allowing not only ourselves, but our children to be raised by the establishment. We continue to put our money or fund the establishment. We continue to talk one way, but do another. We continue to fight against our very own brother instead of joining forces with our brother and fighting the establishment that we talk about. We sick, boss. JD said, man, trying to wake them up is a distraction. They have a slave mentality. She says here on Instagram, they trust the hands of another man before a black man. Ms. Ava said, man, she was talking about Brooklyn, Illinois, the first black incorporated town right across the river, St. Louis. I did not know that. Ava, you gonna have to give us some history. What's going on? Now my parents are from Chicago. I didn't even know there was a Brooklyn in Illinois. I'm gonna have to ask my mom. I think, Mom, what you know about Brooklyn, Illinois? Man, Ava, you're gonna have to, man, can you get me? I ain't gonna do no research, man. I'll read it. You get it over to me. I want to read about this. I'll talk about Brooklyn, Illinois. You tell me that this is the first black incorporated town. All right, I'm ready to read. I'm ready to get some. I want to know my history. Vivian Reed said, what makes it more difficult to support each other in business is convenience. The establishment is all over in our neighborhood. Right? Y'all seen Time to Kill? How many guys seen Time to Kill? And the brother, sitting there like he ain't had no money. And the white man, came and helped him, I guess, in the movie. Right? It's like throwing money away, fighting against corporations, right? It's also established to control our destiny. It's also established to control our destiny, man. This is New Black Wall Street Book Club, guys, what black folk do read. In the comments below, share something that you learned today. I mean, it's getting better and better by the episode. We'll be back with the book club on Thursday. I'm gonna do it 2 days a week, Tuesday and Thursday. I think that's gonna be good for us to continue to go through. This will be available on YouTube, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and then also the podcast, New Black Wall Street Podcast. You can find it across all different platforms. When you look on Google, Apple, all the different platforms, you can find New Black Wall Street Book Club. I'll basically ask you a question right now, man. Was this worth your time, and why did you learn something today? I think it's important for us to learn. It's only showing one person. What's only showing one person? Are you talking about Brooklyn, Illinois? What you talking about, AV? I think it's important for us to. Are you talking about the governor? I don't know what you're talking about. It's only showing one person. So you know. And y'all, I hope y'all also understand that history is whitewashed. What's it called? I forget what they call it. The Mandela effect. I think it's called the Mandela effect. When all of a sudden, the history that you know has kind of been changed, and you go back and you look up something, you're like, wait a second, I know I remember. Like, for example, they might change names a little bit. You might like, wait a second, the Berenstein Bears used to be spelled like this, now spelled like this. I don't remember that when I was younger. And they try to make you seem like you sick, like you messed up. You're like, no, I know it used to be spelled this way. Or I don't know, they do Looney Tunes. Looney Tunes used to be one way, It used to have certain characters, and then over time you look back and be like, wait, that's not the same Looney Tunes that I grew up on. It's called the Mandela effect. And so what happens is the establishment doesn't trust your memory. They don't believe that you trust your memory. So it would be like a subtle change. And then you be thinking, you be like, wait, I know. And then we start trusting the history that they give us. It's called whitewashing history to make sure that we don't know where we come from. And not just us, it's other, Indians and anything that's got to go against this. They don't want you to know where you come from. They don't want you to know how powerful you have been. They don't know what you have. They don't want you to know what you have established. They don't want us to read a book like this. No, because then we're going to be like, wait a second. We got dang and did that shit back in 1890. And it's easier today. And it's and we got more access today. And all we got to do is band together and work together. And all we need is just one good leader to bring us together on purpose, not just to walk, but to actually do something. Man, my goodness. Right? Man. Whew. Things will change. But it won't change, God, my people. It won't change until you change. Right? We can talk about all the stuff that needs to happen. We know what needs to happen. But none of that stuff will happen until the individual makes a decision to change. Once the individual changes, then they can change. They can begin to have an effective change on their family. They can change that. They can change the family dynamics. They can change what the family learns. They can change how they raise the children. They can change how they school the children. It's a whole shift. It's a paradigm shift that happens over decades. And then once the family changes, then the family can have an effect on what? The community. Then the community is like, wait a second, we see this one family that's operating in a different way. We see this one family that's building and growing and manifesting and being prosperous. They're going to look at that one family as the beacon of hope, the light in the darkness. They say, we want our family to be like that family. Let us learn what that family has done. Now you got multiple families. Now you got a community that has changed. When did you have a community that has changed? Now you can go after the city. Once you have a city that's changed, now you can go after the county. Once you have a county that has changed, now you can go after the state. And then once you have a state that's changed, you can go after multiple states, ultimately a country of your own. This is the process, the same process that Jesus started. One man had 12 that followed him. 2,000 years later, there's a country or a movement of Christianity across the whole globe. There was enough found in that man and in the movement that spread like wildfire 2,000 years later, still going strong. Can't we learn from that example, if no other example, that it all starts with one? My question to you today, Black people, my question to you, billionaires, whoever might watch this at any point in time, are you that somebody? Are you that somebody? Everybody put it down, so I am that somebody. See, it starts with one, the power of one. Too many of us try to get other people to change, and we're unwilling to change ourselves. Too many of us try to tell other people what they should do when we're not willing to do it ourselves. It all begins with one. My question to you today, are you that somebody? You. Not the person that you want to do it. See, many people come to me, they got great ideas on what I should do. I'm like, damn, I'm doing enough, ain't I not? I'm doing my best. Why don't you do something with that new idea? But they won't do it. They're trying to give other people the responsibilities that they can take on themselves. Are you that somebody? Or are you waiting on somebody else to do it? You're waiting on somebody else to take up the mantle. You're waiting on somebody else to knock on your door. You're waiting on somebody else to be the change that you want to see. Are you that somebody? This is the New Black Wall Street Book Club, where Black folk do read. You put it in a book like Daily Motivations for African American Success by Mr. Dennis P. Kimbro. You put it in a book like Black Fortunes, the story of the first 6 African Americans to escape slavery and become millionaires. And we absolutely will find it. I'm your host, ERGJ, your certified financial educator, and we invite you to join the Black Billionaires Club. That club there is the beginning. That club there can be your start to join forces with a group of people who are serious about change, who are serious about helping you to accomplish your goals and to build your dreams. So if you go to the website, theblackbillionairesclub.com, that's right, theblackbillionairesclub.com, and ask yourself this: if I'm not that somebody, will I connect to that somebody? Do I really want change? Or do I really just want to talk about change? That's the big question I believe everybody must ask themselves. Do I really want better? Or really do I just want to talk about being better? Those are two different questions. Bring about two different answers. You got to answer that question for yourself. Well, my beautiful people, I want to say thanks so much for tuning in to today's episode of New Black Wall Street Book Club. And I want you to remember this: that it takes a village. It starts with us. Let's build as we climb together. We all we got, people. Matter of fact, as we found out reading today, we all we need. And thank God, that's more than enough. It's time to get up, to get out, and go get something. Until next episode, you know what time it is. Mr. DJ, hit the music.
It's the New Black Wall Street Book Club. Wall Street. With your host, Evan Jefferson. It's time for us to go. Yeah. Now, you ain't got to leave the computer, but we encourage you to get out there and learn and apply all the things you learn at the New Black Wall Street Book Club. Yeah.
All right,
New Black Wall Street. The New Black Wall Street.